Mounjaro birth control and Mounjaro menstrual cycle. Hi friends, I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Freddie. I just gave him one of my Zesty Paws. I'll link them down below. We're going to be talking all on today's episode about Mounjaro birth control, Zepbound birth control, Mounjaro menstrual cycle, Zepbound menstrual cycle, and getting your periods, all on today's episode. Hi friends, I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. This is my co-host, Mr. Freddie. I have had the privilege of losing over 76 pounds in the last year of taking Mounjaro. I am not a medical provider. I am not a healthcare provider. Always talk with your own healthcare provider about medical advice. This is simply my experience, strength, and hope. Let's go ahead and dive in. In my free Mounjaro weight loss encouragement group, we talked a lot this week, and I've done a previous video on that, but with Mounjaro weight loss and Zepbound weight loss now being FDA approved for chronic obesity management through Eli Lilly, the manufacturer, I wanted to talk on today's episode. I got a bunch of notes because it's a really important topic as we go through talking about weight loss, what has happened with my experience, strength, and hope, and hopefully sparking a conversation for you to talk to with your own healthcare provider about this. Mr. Freddie is giving everyone the Boototski today. Okay, it says on the Zepbound packaging, if you take birth control pills by mouth, talk to your healthcare provider before your use of Zepbound. Birth control pills may not work as well while using Zepbound. In addition, your healthcare provider may recommend another type of birth control for 4 weeks after you start Zepbound and 4 weeks after increase, meaning when you titrate up, we're gonna move this way. When you titrate up doses, it's saying that you're gonna need for another, your healthcare provider may recommend another type of birth control for 4 weeks after you start that next dose. So if you go from Zepbound 5 milligrams to Zepbound 7.5 milligrams, you very well may have your healthcare provider may have you use some other form of birth control. Very interesting. So if you're taking birth control by mouth, which I know many of you are in reproductive ages, this is huge. And we're going to talk about menstrual cycle in the second part of this video. But the first part, I think, super important to have this conversation. You do you, boo. I simply am just giving the information out because Zepbound and Mounjaro are the same thing, same formularities, same pens. The manufacturer is both Eli Lilly, simply FDA approved for different things. Mounjaro is FDA approved for type 2 diabetics. It has been prescribed off-label for weight loss. And then Zepbound is FDA approved for chronic obesity management, as well as chronic weight management from the FDA, which those things can change your insurance approval with that. So continue to check your formularities. I have been hearing chippers on the street. If you have Blue Cross Blue Shield Federal, we've been talking about that in my private Mounjaro weight loss encouragement group. That encouragement group, if you're on Wegovy or Ozempic or Zepbound or tirzepatide, semaglutide, all are welcome at that table. We were talking about this, about how that may get approved. Zepbound may get approved for Blue Cross Blue Shield Federal and upcoming the next 2 to 3 months per my sources. So make sure you join that free group if you're looking for additional encouragement. It's awesome. But you do need to fill out all those questions to prevent spam. I have over 1,000 people on the wait list right now because people didn't fill out all the questions. So you won't get in unless you do that. Just email me, by the way. My email's in the description link below, as is all of my resources we're talking about today. So on there, taking your birth control pills orally, that is going to change things. It can change things. And if you're in reproductive years, very much have that conversation with your healthcare provider and or your partner. I'm sure your partner may be interested in that small but big fact that your birth control pills may not work as well. It's the UPS person, his favorite person to chase. It may not work as well. And so that is not just with starting Zepbound or starting Mounjaro. That is for each incremental dose increase. So 2.5 to 5, Mounjaro 5 milligrams to Mounjaro 7.5 milligrams, Zepbound 7.5 milligrams to Zepbound 10 milligrams. Each of those increases, then that means an additional 4 weeks of using another form of birth control potentially. Again, I am not giving medical advice, simply sharing with what is on the website. And that is important for many, many, many thousands and thousands of women who are on this medication, who are on reproductive years, who, if you're taking an oral birth control and it's losing the effectiveness of that, or it can lose the effectiveness of that, very important conversation to have. In addition, and this is the part 2 of it, my own experience, strength, and hope is the first time that I lost dramatic weight, not on Mounjaro, but previous to that is when I got pregnant with my daughter. My hormones, when I had lost the original huge chunk of weight previous to Mounjaro, I did get pregnant with my daughter. And with weight loss, for me, it dramatically at that period in my life, now I'm in my 40s, so it's different, but at that period in my life, was fertile myrtle, apparently. So I don't know if that gives anybody an encouragement of weight loss. And I'm joking, but I'm not joking, because I know that's not joking, and I apologize. I'm not trying to be flippant about that. With weight loss, my experience was it made me more fertile. And so with Mounjaro, my periods, my menstrual cycle have dramatically changed. And I know that I am one of thousands of women that this is true. For example, I'm on Mounjaro 15 milligrams. I've lost 76 pounds in a year of taking Mounjaro. With that, I've had pockets of where I missed a period. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I pregnant? Why is and then I was like, well, I'm in my 40s. It's probably pre-menopause. And so my periods at the beginning, when I was like Mounjaro 5 milligrams, Mounjaro 7.5 milligrams, particularly in that point, because I had been on Mounjaro for months and months at that point, and had lost a good chunk of weight, I think 45, 50 pounds, somewhere in there. I talked about this, what month was it? Back in I'm doing the math real fast, 7 months ago. So 7 months ago, which means I was 4.5 months into taking Mounjaro, is when I started talking about my menstrual cycle changes. And at that point, I had lost over 45 pounds. So if that gives you, for where you are on your Mounjaro weight loss timeline or your Zepbound weight loss timeline, something to have a conversation about, like with your menstrual cycle, for me, it was making my periods longer in between. And then now, what happened, and this is TMI, so if you don't, was this month is I was like, oh my gosh, either I have colon cancer because I'm bleeding out my behind, or my period's coming early. It was like very scary. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to eat more fiber in my diet. With anything, that made me think I need to eat more salads and more fiber in my diet in addition to my protein, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But my menstrual cycle was 3 weeks apart, which is why I was like, this isn't possible. Like, I had been going 5 weeks apart, and normally my cycle is every 4 weeks. So I'm sharing on the internet about my menstrual cycle, hopefully to give you experience, strength, and hope, so you have context for your own situation to spark those conversations with your healthcare provider. For me, it absolutely has. And now at this point, I'm in my early 40s. I'm like, oh, is it perimenopausal as part of this, right? Like, this is where we've had this conversation too, because I like to talk about science. I love talking about Jesus, but I very much talk about science and rooted in facts and scientific facts as well. And with those scientific facts, for me, is, could this just be these changes in my period? Could it just be because I'm in my early 40s and that it's naturally for perimenopausal menopause coming? Or is it Mounjaro or Zepbound? Or is it because I've lost so much weight that's naturally changed my hormones? Or is it because GLP-1s are hormones? Like, it's changing your hormones with it. So that's where all these questions come into play. And so for you, for your own body, for you to have information, because knowledge is power, to arm yourself with knowledge with these as you continue to make decisions for yourself. For me, it's been very helpful to know, A, that I don't have colon cancer. I was like so afraid. It was like so scary. And then B, I was like, oh, it's just my period. It's just dramatically, it wasn't even 3 weeks. It was like 20 days or 19 days. So they've been very wacky. They were far apart, then consistent, and then now they're coming closer together. And so again, I go back to, and we've had this conversation for other things related to Mounjaro and related to Zepbound. Is it just other situations? Like, for me, is it just because it's menopause, or is it because in fact of Mounjaro, or because in fact of Zepbound? And that's where I like to have conversations too, of like, this may not have anything to do with Mounjaro or Zepbound, but maybe it does. I do think because I've lost such a substantial amount of weight now, in particular, I was messaging one of my dear, dear friends, and she's like, Elizabeth, you have been under so much stress the past several, month and a half, with a family member being in and out of the hospital. with the holidays and now with snow and ice and not having reliable schooling for my kid, for the Duke, which has been very stressful, not having reliable childcare because school is out because of the snow and ice, on top of all of those things, that probably also whacked out my period too. So going back to, it's not all Mounjaro, or there's not just Mounjaro at fault or Zepbound at air quote fault. It's contributing factors on there too, which very well may be into play with my menstrual cycle. So I do know that I'm not alone, that there are people in my free Mounjaro weight loss and Zepbound weight loss encouragement group, who are in their 20s or in their 30s, and they're in those reproductive early years that are having the exact same things that I'm talking about, of having those menstrual cycle changes. And I think that that's so important part of this piece. And I know there's so many people out here, and this is the third piece, of people with fertility issues. And first and foremost, I am praying for you. If that is you right now and you're watching, I am sending you so much love. I'm enveloping you in a big hug, and may God come over and give you a God-sized hug, and you just feel that warmth and love right now, that you're being surrounded by so many people and the Lord right now of loving on you if you're going through fertility issues. But I want to give you some hope of my experience. Strength and hope was, I got pregnant unexpectedly with my daughter, and because I lost a lot of weight, it was because my body was in much better shape to be able to be a good house for a baby. And so I hope that that encourages people too, if that is your mission of part of your Mounjaro weight loss, Zepbound weight loss, or helping with your type 2 diabetes, or whatever your health thing is, that know that that I'm sure that this is for several people out there. This is part of the reason why they're doing this, is to get their bodies in shape to be able to have babies, or to have better lifestyle for the babies they already have. And so, and I know this is a sensitive topic too, which I want to make sure I'm giving pause and thought on, that hopefully that gives some encouragement. And then I do also know from our own experience, strength and hope, of that we were foster mentors. We work with the foster care system as well, that having this gives more energy to be able to give it back to things and causes for children that are really, really important to our family too. So in addition, I always talk about like animal rescue, but for kids as well. Let's go back. I've gone down a rabbit hole. Let's go back over, because I do think that that's important in terms of, you guys know I'm like type A. I love talking about planning. I love talking about science-based things, keeping things accurate here, factually accurate here at Countess of Shopping. And going back over to the note about additional birth control every time you have that dose up, and then 4 weeks after that, get your planner out. Do you have vacations planned? Are you going on some beautiful Bahamas cruise? Take me with you. If you are, you may want to plan that out now, like maybe it's 6 or 7 months from now, about if you titrate up or not. I think that that's a very important part of this conversation to have with your healthcare provider too, of if you've booked out this romantic trip with your boo, and you're in that bracket that's taking oral contraception, and you're going on a romantic trip, the intention is to have a romantic trip with your partner, you may want to think more about this birth control aspect as well, or having that conversation too. So, because I think many people, this is jarring information for them, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. And if that's you too, don't worry. Go call your healthcare provider, go send them a DM, go message them through the portal. If you work with Join Fridays, my favorite telehealth company, I'll link my favorite telehealth company down on the description link below. Use the code QUEEN, you get an extra discount code. Have that messaging conversation, or set up an appointment with a telehealth provider to have that immediately. So you can also figure out alternative forms of birth control too, if you are taking that oral birth control, because it's not gonna, they're saying, if you're taking it, may not work as well while using Zepbound and Mounjaro, because we know that those are the same, for 4 weeks after. Holy gazolies. So, and then the period thing too, I think is my hormones have been so jacked, which I also think it's important to note. I'm going to do a whole separate video on this about, for me, 3 days ago, this all just happened like within the past 3 days. 3 days ago, I was eating so much. I'm like, what the flippity flip? I just had my shot. What's today? Hold on, today's Wednesday. I had my shot on Friday. 3 days ago, so it was Monday. I ate so much food. I'm like, what is wrong with me? And you guys know I've worked so much on mindset. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly and wonderfully made. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And so I don't need to go down that rabbit hole of that. And I retrain my brain because I've worked on really, really hard on that. No, actually not. There's got to be more information with this. And there was. Turns out it was my period was coming. Literally today, boom, came. But I had this weird spotting. Again, I don't want to get into too much TMI because I don't like that on the internet. Being like so gross. But I did have this weird spotting, and it was very confusing to me. Like I said, I was like, do I have colon cancer? I had this weird, like, what is going on with my body? I was eating a lot more, and particularly after taking my shot on Friday, you guys know, or I have shared with you, I shouldn't say you know, because you don't know. For me, my experience, I'll use my I statements. My experience is that I still have that level of appetite suppression and fullness for 48 hours. So I found it very weird that it was within that like 36 to 48 hours. I was like, we had a baguette and I ate a whole lot of that baguette. But it's because the period was coming. It was hormonal. It was hormonally based. So I don't know if that gives anyone encouragement. It did for me of that Mounjaro's not working, because that's not true. It's working just great. We've talked about that too. If you haven't seen my other videos of Mounjaro is working. Zepbound is working. It's just your body is, there's scientific data now showing about how it's fighting back against the weight loss, and you got to do some alternative things like making sure you're eating enough protein. I personally eat 100 to 120 grams of protein per day per my dietitian. She has a master's degree in nutrition, GLP-1 dietitian. So I'm really, really focused in on that. Okay, let's kick it over. We do at the end of our show, I talk about some of my favorite Amazon finds, but also we're going to do when you stay till the end, so make sure you do stay till the end when we'll talk about it. Some things that I've gotten that are really, really helpful on this journey. Right now, if you guys have not had the LMNT chocolate medley electrolytes for your coffees or teas or hot drinks, you're so good. Now, I will link down below. LMNT's been very gracious with the account. This video is not sponsored by them. I just love their stuff so much. I do not use a full stick with my coffee. I use about a third of a stick, maybe a half. So in like the morning, I'll have decaf. I'm gonna make some decaf right now after this. I love my absolute favorite, and I need to buy some more, is the chocolate chai. It's so good, but they do also have chocolate chai. Chocolate raspberry is really good. Chocolate mint, that is the Countess, one of his favorites. And then they have just, where did it go? Am I missing one? Yeah, no. I feel like I'm missing one. I feel like I'm missing a flavor. They're great for coffees. When you buy any size of them, they'll give 8 free sticks. Okay, next thing that I bought on Amazon that I am loving, right? Those were not bought on Amazon. Buy them directly from LMNT's website and use the link down below. It's actually way cheaper. Is these 3 things from Belief. Is the Aqua Bomb pH exfoliating toner pads. I had showed you guys in my Ozempic face video about using medical grade pads on my face to help with Ozempic face. I'm really against that. And these are awesome. I really, really like them quite a bit. They have the little tweezers that came with them. They're really, really nice in terms of exfoliation. I'll do that at nighttime. I did find that these were wetter than, like, they have more moisture on them than the medical grade skincare ones that I use, but these are really great. Great choice. Next thing was the Aqua Bomb sleeping mask. Love it, particularly if you've got dry skin. This is another great option for you as well that you will absolutely love. I am loving the Belief products. Really, really nice. This one is like I was about to say jelly, but kind of. It's got that, like, I had another tester of these. And I bought these, by the way. These were a purchase. I was not gifted these. I wish I was gifted these, but I bought these. But really, really moisturating and hydrating, particularly if you have dry skin right now. My skincare game has up-leveled, honey, since starting Mounjaro weight loss, because my skin has changed so much. And then the other thing is the Belief True Cream and Moisture Balm. This one is more of like the milky. That one's also nice too. So I will link those down below. In terms of Mounjaro weight loss, if you have not gotten the smart body tape measurer, this syncs to your phone first and foremost. You get the app. I recommend getting the scale that syncs with this and the blood pressure measurer. All 3, so you have all of that data all in one app on your phone. This is awesome if you're having a Mounjaro weight loss stall or Zepbound weight loss stall. It is like the thing. You can measure your arm, your waist, your stomach, your thighs, all those things, and it keeps the measurement for you. So if your scale's not going down, you can still see that you're losing inches. Very, very helpful. And then, oh, I got 2 more things that I'm so excited about. My lip mask, this is the Elizabeth Mott one. It's on sale this week. It's just like the Laneige lip mask. The berry Laneige lip mask, I should say. It's so good. If your lips are dry and chapped like mine are. No crusty wusties in this household. This is another great one. And then my favorite thing for my Mounjaro weight loss. Many of you guys ask, Elizabeth, do you have loose skin? And I say, of course I do, honey. I do intermittent fasting for all the boo-boos out there who get on my caboose about intermittent fasting and loose skin. I do. Thank you. Thank you. I already do that. I know Dr. Fung, he's the daddy of intermittent fasting. I'm well versed. But this helps with my loose skin dramatically. It makes a big difference. The scent, there's unscented, but to me it kind of smells like an almond extract, but it is technically unscented. And then they do have a citrus scent. The citrus scent does not smell like citrus at all to me. And one of our viewers had mentioned there's a pre-treatment to this. I found, I need to order it. But one of you had mentioned that I should buy it. So I'm going to order that. I'll link all of those down in the description link below too. In addition to our regular electrolytes, by the way. These are the best if you're having Mounjaro side effects, truly. They'll be linked down below. So if you don't want to have them with hot drinks, you can have them just like I had yesterday, big old 40+ ounce tumbler with my LMNT electrolytes. If they're too salty for you, just add more water or use less of the stick in it. So I hope that helped today on today's topic. If you've made it this far in the video, today's emoji is going to be a coffee mug. It's going to be a little coffee mug or a teacup. If you've made it this far in the video, if you're new here, what I do with emojis is it helps me to get to know you better. It's the most important thing for me. In my other job, I'm in front of millions of people on camera every month, and I here at Countess of Shopping, I care about our community so much, which is why I have a free encouragement group, which will be linked in the description link below. But as you comment, the pattern recognition, I may not answer every comment, but I will see every comment. And if you comment on today's video with the coffee cup or the teacup, I will pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, great. I will send positive, uplifting well wishes for your way and loving thoughts. And make sure you get all my free resources below. My Mounjaro Weight Loss Success Checklist is linked in the description link below, as is that free group. And there's a third, Mr. Friday, what's our topic? Oh, he wanted me to tell you guys again, get the Zesty Paws dental bones. You see him come right up. You want to come back up and say goodbye? He's like, no, lady. Absolutely. I need to go walk him. Walk? He's giving me the biggest stink eye. I wish I could move the camera, but I'm not going to. P.S. By the way, many of you guys have commented on my mic since having moved down here. I moved down here because of a family member has been in and out of the hospital, so it was easier just to move here. We are working on our mic situation. The Count has been working on it literally for 3 hours. My mic, we're switching mics, and the new mic that we just bought and spent like a lot of money on is not working. So thank you for your feedback on that. I do take your feedback of like, hey, your mic's weird or whatever. We're working to fix all of that. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. Bye, sweet friends. Make sure you click like and subscribe.